Just before we start, a little word from our sponsors, Carlow Sports. Carlow Sports is your local go-to for all things sports apparel. Operated right here in Carlow to take pride in supplying top quality gear nationwide. Carlow Sports. Play hard, play local. Contact the boys at shane@carlowsports.com.
Welcome to episode 20 of the How Is He podcast. Episode 20, Pop.
20
in.
yeah.
Wow.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. Joined as always by my co-host, you just spoke there, Paul Popadolan. This week we are joined by the current Secretary of the Carlow District League, who was also on the FAI General Assembly, a member of the LFA Senior Council, along with being on the executive member for the Leinster branch of the schools football. He played with Parkville from 10s to youths, picked up back-to-back youths doubles with Parkville obviously, and also represented Oscar trainers at youths level. He also coached Parkville at various levels and won various things, and also coached the Kennedy Cup team. He currently coached 10 teams in Tullow Community School. That probably gives it away a little bit. And last season, historically, he coached the team, a girls under 15 side, to a Leinster title. And he was also the secretary of the Carlow Juveniles, fixture secretary of the Carlow Juvenile Leagues for a record 16 years. Probably best known for his time as a referee for 20 years, picking up Ref of the Year 3 times. In 2002, he made a history with his brother Morgan, becoming the first set of twins to officiate an international game. Welcome, Brian. How are you? Brian O'Reilly, how's things?
Not too bad, lads. Episode 20, fair play. It's about time you got me on, really, wasn't it?
We're always going to come on.
Yeah. Launch night last night.
Launch night last night is the first time we've had one in a few years, since pre-COVID, I suppose, and it was a huge success. It was great to see all the clubs there present with managers and players, and it was a really good night to launch our 2024-2025 season. We had pretty much 17, I think, of the 20 clubs there.
Brilliant.
Harry did some interviews, I did some interviews. We did the draw for the KCLR Shield and plate, I suppose you could call. So we've gone back to the old format.
Yeah.
The straight knockout, what traditionally was for about 20 years, again up until after COVID, we had changed it to a Champions League style format to give teams some games in advance. But we just felt the last couple of years with the GAA being so prominent in Carlow in August and September that it just wasn't working. So we've gone back to the old fashioned way. So everyone's guaranteed 2 games. Everyone will play next weekend, the 1st of September, in the first round of the Shield. And then all the losers will play the plate first round the following weekend, and all the winners will play the second round. So I have the draw if you want to go through some of the games.
Go for it.
So basically it was split into 2 pots.
Yeah.
You had seeded
Okay.
10 Premier clubs in pot 1, and then the other 10 clubs that are in the Carlow League spread across the 2 divisions. There would be 28 teams, but obviously the Shield is a club competition.
Yeah.
So what we decided as a committee to do was we would give pot 2 teams home advantage. So the draw was as follows: Dolman versus Cretty Yard.
Isn't it? Good way to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, give them a chance. Dolman versus Cretty Yard, Nurney versus Vale, St Joseph's versus Kilree, Wolf Hill versus New Oak. Mill were drawn to play Hanover, but Mill have since now withdrawn from the Shield, so that'll be a bye for Hanover. St Felix versus Burn Celtic. Those 2 seem to avoid each other.
That'll be a cracker.
I think all the top teams wanted to avoid Felix, who were probably the top ranked side outside the top 10. Castle and St Pat's, Ballamurphy and Parkville, Slaney and Collection, and Boughton Glass and Bagnallstown.
Brilliant. Tell me this, that format or Champions League format, where do you stand?
Personally, for me, this format.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a good old traditional knockout competition for the clubs. I think if you look back at the Champions League format, I know you could lose a game and still go on to win the competition, but it just wasn't right, the timing of it now in September.
In relation to obviously GA and other competitions, other things.
Yeah.
Going. And tell me this, the football championship in Carlow starting this weekend?
Starting tomorrow night.
No,
is that Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night?
Is that
Sunday,
a new?
I think.
Is that the second year of it? Is that what?
No, it's the 3rd year since COVID.
Is it since COVID?
Yeah, it was a COVID thing, and they've kept it in ever since, where they ran with the hurling first and then the football next.
Dragging it out,
They
isn't
used
it?
to do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but Palace playing Rathvilly Thursday night.
Okay.
Because it's a big wedding in Rathvilly, or there's something going on in Rathvilly the weekend, and they had to play, so Pal agreed with seemingly.
Fair enough.
And it's something that we've had to look at. Like, one of the first things I did when I came in as secretary was I moved the start of our league season till the first weekend in October, because let's call a spade, we're a small county. Clubs rely on dual players.
Oh, they do?
And there's no point in saying that it's soccer against football. That's not what it is.
Oh, for sure.
We try to accommodate everybody, and we already know that if we try to start, like, you look back years and years ago, Johnny Coughlin or the Mercy, and when I was refereeing, it was Friday, Sunday for the last 2 weekends of August.
That's not that long ago, Brian.
And at the time the Premier was only 9 teams.
Yeah.
So, like, you played 16 games. games. You'd played 4. You'd played a quarter of your season in the last 2 weekends of August.
Yeah,
your league was over.
Yeah,
If you lost the 4 of them, lads weren't going to come back from GAA.
No.
Yeah.
So we kind of made a decision. I made a decision, and the committee backed it up, that we went and we moved. We don't start now till the 6th of October, which is the final this year of the GAA, but at least it gives lads a chance to get their best out of it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we have to understand that there are lads out there in the county who don't play GAA or hurling and are chomping at the bit after being sitting down all summer doing nothing. So the Shield is kind of the perfect opportunity. And I suppose the other thing then we have is, unfortunately, is the LFA and the FAI always start on the 15th of September and the 22nd of September. And again, that can be, like, we've lost a lot of our good sides in the early rounds of the LFA and the FAI because they haven't had their players.
No.
But there's no
you get
solution
a couple
to
of games
that.
into it, and if you win your couple of games, you're like, they have everybody back. Now they have a real good chance of winning it. And you want to see Carlow team winning it, don't you?
Yeah.
Like everybody does.
Yeah.
For sure. 10 teams in the Premier this year.
Yeah, and I suppose, you guys said you were on episode 20. Episode 1 and 2 came out at a bad time from a league point of
That's
view.
what I'm going to ask you. Talk me about the relegation thing.
We,
and what happened there.
we made a decision at the time as a committee, kind of to put out a statement. And in hindsight, I suppose I realise maybe we should have elaborated a little bit on the statement. I didn't think between this podcast and Harry's one there was going to be so much controversy and debate about it. And obviously, we're football men. Myself, Mick, Noel, Keaton, Burner are football men, and we know, like, we completely agree with everything what you said. If you don't have relegation in football, it's not fair. And it's a bit like what Pop said the previous year with Hanover. You wouldn't have tried.
No.
So let's call a spade a spade. There was relegation, lads. There was never not going to be relegation. And the rumours about we wouldn't relegate Collection because of facilities and everything else was all pure nonsense. At 2 p.m. on Sunday, the 4th of April, Kilree were relegated, and that was it. And then the referee's match card came in 2 days later, and we noticed we had a problem. Okay. And we as a committee, we met on 2 or 3 occasions over the next 2 weeks to figure out what we were going to do. And a 10-team Premier was something I've wanted for quite a while, and we've always looked at it, and we kind of felt this was a possible solution because, as football men, I think you'd understand, relegation should be decided on the pitch.
For sure.
And this put us in a very difficult position in the sense that you take it, if you're the manager of Collection, you're celebrated that Sunday night. All the Collection players celebrated that Sunday night. I'm sure might went to the pub, celebrated. We stayed up. And then 3 days later, you're getting a phone call saying you didn't stay up. You're going down. Because of a technicality, an illegal player and everything else. And we just felt that wasn't right. That something as big as a relegation needs to be decided on the pitch, not with an administrative thing. So we made the decision to relegate nobody in the interest of fairness and increase our Premier to the 10 that we've thought about. Rather than promoting 2 teams, we go with it this year. And look, I'm sure people have different opinions, and there's all the controversy and whatever else it caused, and it was a genuine mistake. We truly believe that. We spoke with everyone around it. There was no intent from anyone's behalf. It was a genuine mistake. It was an administrative error and whatever else, and we just felt that relegation from a Premier should not be decided at a disciplinary hearing. It should be decided on the pitch.
Yeah, well, it makes perfect sense. So, like, in a way, then being 9 teams, you were probably lucky.
Yeah, certainly.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So you could get away with it. And by all means, everyone makes mistakes. I think where I was coming from on it was clarification. Like, so going forward, what is the plan?
So going forward, and again, we haven't quite, and I know you guys had a bit of a preview last week, you might have to...
Which was completely incorrect.
You might have to go with that again, but going forward, once we have all our entries confirmed, we will form our 3 divisions. Now, the 10 Premier teams are confirmed.
Okay.
Last year, the Tully's Travel was our smallest division. When the tie withdrew, we only had 8. And obviously, we've promoted Burn Celtic, and we didn't relegate anyone. So we have promoted Vale and Ballinglass. So at the moment, that would still stand... at 9.
Yeah.
We're waiting for Mill to confirm their entry, and then the bottom division has St. Felix B coming as a new club, as a new team in it, so that would still have another 11 in it, so we'd end up with 10, 9, 11, which is fine. We can't really end up with a scenario of 10, 8, 11, so we may have to promote one more team. But once we have our 3 divisions set, we will then call at our first league management meeting, we will then announce the structure from this year. But the plan is to go back to normal. There'll be 1 team relegated from every division and 1 team promoted.
Brilliant.
And we will make that very clear before a ball is kicked in any league on the 6th of October.
Yeah, and it has to be a punishment, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and 100%. And we always felt
a punishment is not the right word to say, but it's like there has to be
Yeah, and we always felt that was the case, and I think it was one of the things listening to the podcasts back then was, look, these lads we're not stupid lads. We know there has to be relegation in the interest of everything, as you said. And I suppose going back to the first couple of original podcasts, I think Papa was very harsh on me with the over 35 formation. I'd like to think now, 20 episodes later, I've been proven very correct as to why I promoted Hanover. Over 35 football is very unique, lads.
Absolutely.
You can't create divisions based on last season. It's a bit like having a brilliant under-14 team win everything this year, and your under-13s coming behind it are absolutely no good at all, and you're going to go into the same division. With 35s, and you know yourself, look back at New York years ago, with 35s you find you get about 3 or 4 years out of a really good side, and then unfortunately, and what we found this year was we had a very unusual situation where Bridge, who won the league, folded. Slaney Rovers lost 8 of their lads who were playing for the last I don't know how many years and requested to be relegated to the bottom division. We had Evergreen and Highview come in new. So I suppose we took the decision, looking at the players that Hanover were registering, and then the fact that they had finished second to Carlow, and as he had already said, you probably should have won that division with walkovers. Exactly. So we made a decision to promote
because of over. I think we were better team than Carlow.
So we made a decision to promote 2 teams to relegate Slaney, and poor old Slaney, in fairness to them, didn't win any of their first, I think, 5 or 6 matches.
They lost the first few, didn't they?
Yeah. Whereas Hanover looked like they might win Division 1. So I'd like to think we were justified. We were justified with that one too.
It's good now, alright. You're in the right place,
But these things are hard to do at the start of a season when you're sitting down.
You're
not
right.
simple.
The 35s is like, you're 100% correct. It's a monopoly thing, as in you'll have dominance from a group for a long time, as in 4 years, 5 years, because they might have a crew who's just coming out of junior soccer at 34 are eligible to go at 35, but then what happens, to pass an example, start very strong but to the wrong end 35, so you're going to be barren for a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? So it is that merry-go-round where... Very
much so, and as I said, you can't, just because you were Division 1 this year, doesn't mean you're going to be Division 1 next year. And the other thing I think Pat's the classic example, and maybe Papa from playing from Hanover, with 35s, a lot of lads work shifts. And you can't get the same 11 on the pitch every week.
Very, very rare.
Like you go and you don't know who you're going to play this week.
Pat has never picked the same team for Hanover. And I don't remember you ever picking the same team.
Never did when I was there, Pat.
And I played with New York 35s, and they had the same thing. Couldn't pick the same 11. It's just something that happens.
Family,
holidays. Work. Friday suits, Saturday doesn't. If you're away at the team that plays on a Saturday, you're used to playing your home games on a Friday. I'm not around on a Saturday. Unless you have to make commitments then, but you're...
On that topic of making decisions, Brian, talk me through your current role.
So I'm the secretary of the league, so basically I'm responsible for the day-to-day running of the admin, sending out the emails, sending out the WhatsApps. Obviously all the fixtures is my main job. At the moment now I'm getting all the entries in, so I've given the clubs until the 31st of August to confirm. There was a couple of other clubs who were querying B teams. I've given everyone until the 31st of August to confirm their final entries, so I can form the 3 divisions.
Any new teams, Brian?
Sorry?
Any new teams? Apart from
St. Joseph's are back.
Oh, St. Joseph's
are back. St. Joseph's are back, which is great to see. They were there. There was 4 or 5 of them there last night, which was fantastic. They've got a new committee in there in the last number of months, and they're doing Trojan work. They're doing absolutely brilliant work.
It's great.
They're flying with the over 35s. They're in a chance of winning that bottom division. So it's great to see them back. So I'll be forming all the fixtures then. Obviously working out in the outside competitions with the LFA and the FAI and helping compile all those fixtures, which is quite busy. I also look after our website. I'll update our website with all the fixtures, results, photographs, things like that, and I look after the Carlow Soccer's Facebook and Twitter pages. So again, sometimes people give out you're not quite busy, but trying to do all that stuff it can be quite time consuming, particularly around cup final times. And I've learned my lesson too with the cup finals. If you're going to put up photos or pictures of any cup final, you have to do them for them all. You can't just and that can be quite time consuming at the end of the year. I'm also the Carlow rep on FAI General Assembly at the moment, which is only a couple of meetings a year, and LFA Senior Council. So obviously we're quite lucky. We have Noel Jordan currently the LFA President. Therefore we get a second rep on LFA Council and FAI General Assembly, which has allowed me to get in there.
Brilliant.
So basically quite busy, but not as busy as what I was, thankfully, but quite busy.
That's a lot, isn't it? What hurdles do you come across then?
I suppose registration players too, which is going to be very busy for me for the next few weeks with the FAI Connect. So that's going to be the big task now.
Do you have an admin version of the FAI Connect then?
Yes.
You do, okay.
So basically what happened is the secretary of all these 20 clubs have been told to have to register their 18 players by Thursday the 30th of August. I'll get an email every time a secretary registers a player.
Yeah.
Now the FAI Connect unfortunately is whilst it's a really, really useful system, it's kind of quite a pain.
Okay.
I get an email for every single player.
Oh my God.
Right.
So if St. Pat's register 20 players, I get 20 emails.
Well, let me tell you this story to go across you. I was on the email list for that, for just St. Pat's, and I was told to take me off. The amount of emails I was getting, this player's moved to here, just for the club.
Yeah.
I can't measure now.
Yeah. So multiply that by 20.
Oh, leave it so.
Like this, in the next 2 weeks, if you take it, the 20 clubs even only register 20 players each.
Yeah.
That's 400 players registered in the next 2 weeks. That's 400 separate emails I get.
Jesus.
And then I have to log in and approve them and turn them green so that they can play. So
it's only about sticking a box order that they're green, they're active then.
Yeah. And that's quite time consuming. So I generally would do that once a week. I'll see the emails come in, but what I've told the clubs is either I'm quite lucky I have a half day on a Friday from school. I generally do it on a Friday afternoon. I'll just log on and make anyone active.
The transfer of a player, how many days does that take?
Transfer of a player now in the new system can happen quite quick.
Yeah.
The transfer, believe it or not, it has to happen within 5 days. It's the maximum it can take, but it could happen within 2 hours.
Right.
The actual onus lies with the club that's
Players registered with.
that he's leaving.
Yeah.
So if the secretary of Parkville puts in a request to take a player from Hanover, Hanover secretary gets an email instantly, and he just ticks a box to release. Now he can be a bit of an ass and say, "No, you're not getting him for 5 days." If he doesn't do it within 5 days, the FAI automatically release him. But he can do it there and then instantly. So we're quite lucky that a lot of our secretaries in the Carlow League all work together.
Yeah.
And they'll literally pop off a text and say, "Listen, such and such is coming to us this year.
Yeah.
Can you release him for me there?" So it can happen within 30 seconds, or it'll take up to 5 days. But it's very straightforward now. And the league was taken over, which was something that was a bit unusual and took us a bit of a while to get used to. Because obviously all transfers previously had to come through the league.
That's right,
so you would send a transfer request to the league, we would stamp it, you'd send us €30 and we'd do it.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Since FAI Connect came in, the FAI rules now state that the club owns a player registration, not the league. The club owns
the legal will come up on that as a rate.
Yes.
Will it? So
yes. But the league now has got nothing to do with a transfer, which can cause issues in itself in the sense that a player can move clubs without us even knowing.
Yeah.
Now I will get an email when he's registered with his new club,
over,
but I'll be like, "Oh, hang on, I thought he was playing with such and such last weekend." So that was a big change that took us a while to get used to. And some of the bigger leagues in Dublin have lost a lot of revenue from the transfer fees. It was something that it wouldn't have affected us, but you take the bigger Leinster senior leagues, they could have had 100, 200 transfers a year, €30 transfer. They lost a lot of revenue. But now the onus is on the clubs to do everything.
Right. And tell me this: the old way was obviously paper. And you could sign for as many clubs as you want. Tell me if I'm wrong now. You could sign for as many clubs as you want, but it's wherever you kick the ball for in the first league game was where your registration lied. Am I right in saying that the way it used to be?
Well, no. When I took over, it was paper, but it was the first club you would sign for.
Oh, it was the first club
whatever date was on the first.
Ah, okay.
But so if you sent in several applications to me, it was whichever one I get approved first.
And that's where
that's where you were stuck. Yeah.
All right, okay. Tell me this: how does the league develop or progress?
Yeah, so look, I suppose our focus so far has been on grants, and giving out grants to clubs. That's something we're really, really good at. That's something we've wanted to do. Like if you look now, we're one of the few leagues, and we're talked about at LFA level the whole time, 4 all-weather pitches in such a small league, which is quite unique. So we would have given grants. And we would have given grants to almost, I know Noel Jordan mentioned it last night at the launch, I think we over 20 clubs, I think 16 of them now have received significant grants from us. So that's our progress, is to keep developing facilities, to keep getting dressing rooms. This year we have a record number of clubs after applying for sports capital funding, and I helped a number of them do it. Hanover, I think, are in for 200,000. Slaney are in for the maximum 200,000. Pats, I think, are in for 200,000. Parkville are in for 200,000. Bagnallstown are in for 50,000. Burn Celtic are in for 40,000. We have a record number. We're helping them do that there. So we currently have no interest in trying to develop our own facilities. We want to help all our clubs. We want all 20 clubs. We have a grant there waiting at the moment for Boughton Glass. They have sports capital waiting. They're having issues with the council or whatever, but they're waiting to build their clubhouse. So we have a grant there waiting for them.
Are they building it in Parkmore?
Yeah. The planning is done.
Wicklow County Council or Carlow County Council? Wicklow, isn't it?
Yeah. So we have a grant waiting there. They're going to draw it down as soon as they have drawn down their sports capital. We helped St. Pat's with a car park last year. We helped Parkville fence off the Premier with a new metal fence. So
that's an awful lot of trouble over there, ain't
that's kind of our progress. That's kind of our progress.
I was there last week. Someone was on it. I can't think who was on it, but they're talking about.
Yeah. And I suppose the other big thing then was, I don't know if you were at the Carlow Cup final, we want to make our cup finals a bigger deal.
Oh yeah, they're brilliant.
And I tried something last year whereby we introduced the under-9s playing each other. So we had the St. Pat's and New York under-9s play each other. They all walked out holding hands with a player as mascots, and that's something that was a huge success, and we're hoping next year now to bring that into all finals.
Brilliant. I played in the B team cup final last year against
Parkville B and Parkville B, that's right. And Hanover.
Match before that.
Yeah, Hanover did the same
kids
thing.
coming out with the players, loved it. And then, but even the small thing, bringing the music.
Yeah.
You're kicking around the ball, you feel like it's not just a game of soccer, it's an event.
So that's another progress that we want to make. And then I suppose our main target for the next 3 years is women's football.
Okay.
So we're trying to get a ladies' youth league for the first time in history.
Wow.
I sent a text today. We're hopeful. Looks like we might have 4 teams, but if we can get 4 teams this year, we'll go ahead with it. And then our women's league is back up and running, full 11 aside.
Yes.
And we currently have 8 entries. Miller coming back to us, Vale coming back to us, New Park are coming back to us.
Brilliant.
And then we have our own 5 clubs from last year. So that's where we're putting our focus at the moment. I'll be doing a launch night for the ladies in a couple of weeks' time.
Is there a minimum teams? Can you do with the youth with 4?
Well, you'd ideally like 6,
more,
but if we can get 4 and get it off the ground,
play each other 3 times or something.
Yeah, it really would be, because we need that stepping stone, because the gap from under 16 to senior is too much.
It's massive, yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
So our focus this year is getting a ladies youths league up. And then in terms of progression, I suppose what I would like to see was something that happened years and years ago, and I know, Paul, you spoke about it before, but I'd like to see every Premier team have a B team.
Yeah, I think it's massive.
I'd love to have a reserve division.
Do you think it'll work, Brian?
I don't know, being honest. Like,
if you had a B team, from what would you do, a B team cup? Like, remember the Mid-Bar Cup or something?
Yeah. Like, I suppose in an ideal scenario, you'd like to have the 10 teams in the Premier, and then there are 10 B teams in the division below it.
Yeah.
And you have that stepping stone.
Yeah.
It's an ideal world, and I don't know would it ever happen, because some of the teams clubs are so small, but in that sense. And then it's just basically to keep growing the way we're growing. Like, we're so lucky in Carlow. As I said, we're up to 28. We're up to 28, 29 teams. Our over 35s is probably, after the AUL, it's the biggest league in. Like, we were looking at one point, we were calling ourselves the mini South East Super League. Like, we had Evergreen, we had iView, we had Carnew.
Yeah.
It was looking like Bunclody were coming in. We have Moon from Kildare. And then our youths last year had 12 teams in it. So the league is constantly expanding the whole time. And I suppose the downside to that then is we're kind of 52 weeks of the year. We're going all year. In that sense, but we want to keep progressing. Obviously, we'd like to get a team to win an outside competition. We want to keep the Oscar trainer going. We hope that can go again.
Any plans for the Oscars?
No, look, we're hoping it can go again this year. I suppose again on that, the hardest part of that, I suppose, was it's midweek.
Yeah.
That wasn't our decision. That was an LFA and an FAI decision, that it won't interfere with leagues.
Okay.
So it will be midweek, and we did explain that to the players and the management team at the start of last year. And if it happens again this year, it will be the same. It'll be Wednesday nights, because 10 teams in the Premier and whatever, we can't have our fixture programme.
Yeah, wrong.
I know it was a bit of a disappointing end, but because of the weather and that game that was played, it should never have been played. But that was out of our hands.
The worst thing about the whole, I love doing the Oscar trainers and that, but to have a game on a Wednesday and then to have one on Sunday.
Yeah,
that was a killer.
Yeah.
Like, whether you win or whether we won,
and that was
won that
because
game or lost that game, we should have been playing 10 days later then, not 4 days later.
100%.
And that's what I would have loved.
And that was because of
we missed 5 players because of that.
Yeah, and that was because of the appeal. Remember the appeal?
Yeah.
Kildare appealed their outcome.
That's
and
right.
It dragged it out for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then because it went to an All-Ireland level, that the other provinces were ready, we had to be ready by a certain date. And that messed us.
That was what Kilkenny gave them a walkover, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kilkenny. So basically, we bet Kilkenny 3-0.
Yeah.
And then Kilkenny went and gave Kildare a walkover, which is 3-0.
3-0, yeah.
And Kildare's argument was they could have scored more goals. Well, that's our counter argument is you might have only scored 1 or 2. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So the simplest solution was to nil and void Kilkenny's results.
Right.
But that wasn't in the rules, apparently. So the whole thing ended up going to an appeal to the LFA, and the LFA rejected it, and then it was appealed to the FAI. So it dragged out for 4 or 5 weeks, and it then meant that Leinster were in trouble, that they were in. So basically, we ended up with our, as you said, our final on that Wednesday night, where the winner was going to have to play on the Sunday, or the loser.
The loser on the Sunday, and the winner was 10 days later.
Yeah, well, the winner, in fairness, was meant to be the Sunday as well, but that got changed for some reason because the other province wasn't ready either.
Waterford won it in the end.
So hopefully this year it'll be. Now the fact that it's a year in advance, it'll be more going. And we launched our new Oscar Traynor jersey last night as well.
That was nice.
With Jason Farrell Sports, our new sponsor, which was a big deal last night for us. So we've been sponsored by O'Neill's for many a year now. So that was a big thing for us. New sponsor, local in the town, keep the business in the town.
Yeah, brilliant.
And he's going to be the league sponsor now going forward. He's been sponsoring the Youth League for a number of years, but now he's sponsoring the Oscar Traynor kit and all the gear. And he's hoping to have a Carlow soccer shop as well.
Brilliant.
Very good.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Really, for him to do that. Tell me this: any changes in management, or what's the story there? Where did me and Papa apply for a job?
I don't know. It hasn't been discussed actually.
Right, okay.
It hasn't been discussed.
Just to pick up a little thing you said there when you were talking about progression, your own ground.
Yeah.
Is there any reason that you don't want your own area?
No, none for the moment.
Is it just because the concentration's on developing clubs?
Yeah.
So I would have made a comment last week. I think it was last week. It was where I said that. Are the league in a position where clubs could potentially outgrow them? Now, that's before I meant that before I understood the support you give, right? So that kind of answers that.
Yeah.
But is there a thing where, Jesus, if a club takes the next step, all of a sudden they're going to Leinster Senior League?
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I suppose, as you say, the answer to it really was we're supporting our clubs.
Yeah,
we're giving them all as much help as we can.
Well, I didn't know that. I think you should be very transparent on that.
Well, no, fair enough. And
people are
like, we don't hide
anything. More, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so.
No, what the help you're giving clubs.
Yeah.
No, you're after saying it. People.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Because a club would be quick to give out about it. As in the league.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be quick to know.
Yeah, there's players in the club wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm heavily involved with Hanover. I didn't know all this.
Yeah, no, we would always give.
Yeah.
And we give substantial grants. Like, you're talking 5 figures.
That's brilliant.
You're talking 5 figures, and pretty much 16 of the 20 clubs so far have got them.
Wow.
And we're hoping to help out the other 4 now develop their facilities going forward. Like, if you look at it, we each year we've kind of progressed. So, like, the rules over the years were, first of all, if you wanted to have a ladies team, you had to have a toilet member in dressing rooms. Then we brought in the rule that if you were in the Premier, your pitch had to be fenced off. So we've progressed each year. We've, as I said, like, people say, the Carlow League are handing out fines left, right and centre. We don't want to hand out fines. Unfortunately, that's just a side effect of a player getting a red card or a manager getting a red card. But what we do with that money is we give it back to our clubs. We don't keep it, we give it back to our clubs. Like, as I said, by a minimum we would give out would be a couple of 10,000 euro grants every year.
Wow.
Would be a minimum we would give out.
I did not have
clubs.
any idea of that. And you're doing, I've heard, tell me if I'm wrong, is there a rules seminar or something next week?
Yeah, so Mick Walsh is going to have on the 3rd of September, on Tuesday the 3rd of September at 7:30 in Seven Oaks, he's going to ask all managers and coaches, and he's going to give a rules talk.
That's a massive step.
Yeah. And it's something we've looked at doing. Mick has, in fairness to him, has looked at doing for a couple of years. And we've set the ball in motion now. We announced it last night. I'll be sending out an email and a reminder to all the clubs this week. And Mick is going to go and give a big talk to all the managers and coaches. Because I think, as a former referee myself, one of the big problems we would have always said over the years was the biggest issue we find was that a lot of the managers and players
don't know the rules.
Yeah. And Mick is hoping by giving a talk that he'll clarify anything that might be there.
I think if it's in the kind of open forum space, that it's not sit down, listen to this, step by PowerPoint, and it's kind of an open forum where it's a back and forth questions and answers. I think that's how that should be operated.
Yeah.
I think it'll work better because, as you said, managers don't know.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure Mick will take questions on the night now. I'm not sure what format he's arranged for.
That's brilliant. I know I've repeated myself. I think that is a massive step. I really do. I think that's a massive step forward for a relationship between the league and clubs. And
tell you what was brilliant as well, all the referees were up in the plots last Wednesday.
Yeah, they're training at the moment.
They were learning to do the flags properly.
So we
were training away, and Phil had asked me, can we have, you didn't even know, it was only, you only needed the 18-yard box basically, and looking across the line, but not going in blinded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the flags, that they actually know what they're doing, and it was fair play to them.
So that was another thing. Obviously, you asked about progression. That was another thing we've changed. We've changed this year. We have decided. We had thought about. We tied with the idea last year when we balloted the clubs, and they rejected it.
It was a vote and against.
It was a vote, and the clubs rejected it.
I don't know what it was, but anyway,
it was either 6-3 or 7-2. The Premier clubs rejected it, but this year we didn't give them a choice. We looked at it, and given some of the things that happened last year and whatever else, we've decided this year that we're going all Premier games. And one of the big things that's helped us is the fact that some of the clubs play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we would have struggled if all 5 Premier games were on a Sunday morning. We wouldn't have 15. You wouldn't have 15 officials in the branch. So, but the fact now that the games are spread out across the weekend certainly gave a chance. And what Mick has done now is, as you said, he's been training. And I think it's going to be good for everybody, but it's going to be particularly good for the referee.
Oh yeah,
because we all know that it's a lonely job on your own. Whereas if you're a team of 3, it's a little bit easier.
It's a thankless job, isn't it, really?
So that's going to be a big plus too, and a big progression for the league. And I know there's the extra little bit of cost for the clubs.
It's minimal,
but I'm sure, as I said before, if it's €80 a team now for a Premier, and you've got 20 lads on it or 18 lads on the match card, it's a £5 a man. Like, it covers.
Yeah, but see, it was always a £5. Like, I know down below on Pat's, the club made an announcement to us at the start of pre-season that they're not going to charge us extra. They're just going to fit whatever's left to cover the linesmen, because they think it's a massive step, and it shouldn't be a cost on players, but it is a cost, but the club are willing to foot it, like, which I think is brilliant. But what I think the linesmen will do, Brian, for the game is, and you've just mentioned, it'll give referee weight.
Yeah.
So if a referee is making a decision and the guy, manager, myself, yourself, whoever doesn't like it, and they're making an argument, the referee can say, well, hold on, the linesman's in agreement here, he flagged it. Do you know what I mean? It's not me against you thing. All of a sudden it gives them a bit of weight, and the decision is verified rather than, no, you didn't, yes I did, no you didn't. Do you know? And I think that's a big thing.
Is the offside as a referee.
100%. If that's taken out of your hands, it's so much easier concentrating the rest of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So much easier. Like if you're refereeing a top Premier game and you're trying to get your diagonals right so you can get all your offsides right.
Yeah.
At times that's all you're thinking about. So I need to get myself in the right position here to get me offside right.
Yeah.
Whereas if that's taken out of your hands, you can solely focus on the game. So look, it should be hugely beneficial to everybody.
Yeah. So it's just league, so the Shield games won't be. It's just Premier League games only.
Just Premier games only, and then it will be as usual the cup semi-finals and cup finals. Right. But that should be a big progression for the league, and massive. It should be useful for everybody.
It's massive.
It's great when you play the Oscar Trainer games. It's great to have the linesmen. And he always said, imagine every game like that would be brilliant. No, we have it.
Yeah. So and assistant referees, you better give them the right title to be given out to us. We don't call them linesmen anymore.
Assistant referees. I think linesman sounds better, don't you?
I know.
Tell me this. Summer soccer, big vote against it. What do you think?
Where do you want me to start?
Go on,
I could give you a whole podcast on this. Well, first and foremost, our players and our club said no. Right, so let's put to bed this myth that the Carlow League said no. What happened was, after a meeting at Christmas, we were asked by the LFA and the FAI to approach our clubs. We approached all our clubs to go talk to their players and to come back to us, and we'd have a vote. But the league would not make a decision. It would be our clubs making a decision. Mm-hmm. So we invited all our clubs into a meeting in March, and 16 clubs out of the 20 turned up to the meeting, and all 16 rejected it. Therefore, for us, you're not going to get more unanimous than that. So we made the decision no. And since then, the figures are quite phenomenal, to be honest with you. 16 clubs in Carlow said no. 51 clubs in Wexford, only 4 said yes. 36 in the combined counties, only 4 said yes. In the Leinster Senior League, 132 clubs, only 36 said yes. In the Leinster Football League, 36 clubs, 0 said yes. In Wicklow, 22 clubs, 3 said yes. And in Wexford, 30 women, 36 and 3. So of the 329 clubs in the LFA, 51 said yes for Canada football, and 278,
absolute landslide,
85% said no. From my point of view, it won't work. As I said already, we're a dual county. Mm-hmm. We rely on our football and GAA players. And the FAI's notion that you run a competition for March, April, May, break for June, July and August comes back is just...
Well, that makes no sense. But I get that.
It's absolutely not logical. It won't work. You think about it, and the DDSL tried it. So you take Hanover Pops. You've played March, April and May. You're bottom of the Premier table, 8 games played. I mean, you take a 3-month break. Are your lads going to come back? No. You know what I mean? They're not going to come back. So that's not going to work. Playing during the summer is not going to work.
That's a silly option, isn't it?
So,
but what if it's the obvious directive from the FAI? It's the obvious directive they want this calendar game.
Yeah, but the reason they want it, I can understand. So they want one registration window.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why they want it. It's no other reason.
Really?
Is they want one registration window, because the registration windows, lads, are a nightmare.
It's they are.
And if I start to get into that with you, we'll be here for 2 weeks. So you know yourself, there's the summer season, there's the winter season, and then there's the registration windows. And what's causing the hassle at the moment is you take a player coming from Wexford Youths or CK United. You take a young lad. He can now play 12 months of the year, essentially.
Yeah.
Because of the window, the way it forms. And the FEI are saying under welfare issues, you need to have your break and whatever else. And so, like, you have this calendar that operates. So at the moment, it's since the 1st of August, it's open season for winter players.
Yeah.
Okay, so all our winter players now can sign for who they want.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody that's playing, and I'm after getting so many phone calls this week, a lot of lads went to play in Kildare for the summer.
Yeah, Clonmondel or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, for various different clubs. Brian, when do they need to come back? They need to come back by the 23rd of September. If they don't come back by the 23rd of September, they're stuck till the 1st of January.
Right.
Now, if you're playing in the Kildare League, which finishes on the 1st of November, you might not be playing the month of October. If you're out of all the cups,
Yeah.
you might not be playing the month of October, so you might decide, listen, I'm getting out by the 23rd of September. I don't want... Whereas the FEI are saying you need November and December off. You've been playing all year. The winter leagues take June, July and August off. So, and then there's the complication side of that is the opposite then. So our transfer window opens on the 1st of January and closes on the 31st of January. But League of Ireland and summer leagues can sign players till the 23rd of February. So
In that same window.
In that same window.
Yeah.
So they get an extra 23 days. So a League of Ireland team can essentially come in
And take your good players there.
between the 1st of February and 23rd of February,
Yeah.
and you can't replace them because our window's closed.
Yeah.
So all these transfer windows and all these... So this is why... And the counter argument, and I've given it at FEI General Assembly, I've given it at LFA, the simplest solution is to move the League of Ireland. They're moving the wrong people.
That's a great point.
They're moving the wrong people. Okay? And the analysis I gave up at FEI General Assembly was there's 200,000 people homeless in Carlow, right, say for argument's sake, and there's 100,000 homeless in Clare. When you build 200,000 houses in Clare and only 100,000 in Carlow, so that's not fixing the problem. And this is what's happening now. They want to move over 500,000 amateur footballers
In line with them.
to cater for 30,000 odd League of Ireland or the couple of leagues that are playing summer season. So just, sorry lads, the simplest solution here is...
Flip it, yeah.
If the reason you want to do this is just flip it.
Yeah.
Make the League of Ireland go back to the way it was. Flip it, and then you've only got one window. They're trying to move in our opinion, they're trying to move the wrong one. And the figures back it up. Everything seems to back it up. Now the question is, what's the FEI going to do? They're saying from January 2026. I don't think they can force it. The leagues are saying no.
That won't go through with them.
So you bring that data of the no's from Leinster from the LFA.
Yeah. So that's now going to the next FEI General Assembly meeting.
And I presume that's gone on already. Obviously, it's gone on
Yeah,
already.
well,
What's the
figures.
feedback? What's the feedback?
There seems to be very little at the moment.
So is that a denial thing then?
I think so.
But that's nearly worse.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Sure, the figures are there in black and white. 85% you said, wasn't it?
85%.
Said no.
Yeah, said no.
That
And
would
still
be
find a case to argue here, so they will.
And that's
FEI.
representing over 20,000 players.
100%. But that would be like you doing a league meeting. Let's use the Lions ban as an example. It's something you wanted to try
Assistant
last
referees,
year. Sorry, assistant referees. The clubs voted no. You were like, okay, we can't do it, even though it's the right thing to progress.
Yeah.
You can't do it because that is there saying we can't run this.
Yeah.
So if because my understanding was this, right? The thing that went out for summer soccer, we done a podcast on it, and I'm kind of an advocate for summer soccer, but my reasons are sunshine, nice evenings, grass pitches, brilliant, right?
Yeah.
That's where I advocate for it. However, if there's a resounding no for these things, and the FEI still push forward with their plan, like they're just neglecting football.
Yeah.
100%. And Noel would very much agree with you, and that's a message he's harping on out there. You need to listen to the grassroots level.
Yeah.
Nobody at grassroots level wants this. And I do see your point about the evenings and the bright evenings, and the better pitches to a certain degree. And I think that's one of the reasons why people harp on about why can't the soccer fixtures be done in advance like the GAA is. But the GAA can play anytime during the week. You gave the example already this week.
Yeah.
Whereas in soccer we're kind of restricted. You play on a Sunday unless you happen to be one of the few clubs that have lights. And that's something, again, that's going back to my job, I suppose, makes my job so difficult. Like I've had, and I know you had Gavin on, and I know you've had Badger on talking about fixtures and the way things worked out this year. I suppose it's one of the hardest jobs for me is that balancing act. Like, we had an awful situation this year where Craigyard were finished a couple of weeks before New York. Let's call a spade a spade.
But New York were victim of success, though.
Yeah, nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that to happen. Nobody wanted that to happen. Least of all me. But my job is to find that balance. And in fairness to Gavin, he's always been very fair to me, and he's listened to me, and he's understood. And I know on that night in the podcast he said about playing the Wednesday Sundays. But you go back to any club that's successful, like Klopp and Guardiola always spoke about this. If you're still in Europe, if you're still in the FA Cup, whatever else, you're going to play Sunday, Wednesday from March till. Whereas if you're out of all the competitions, you only play every Saturday. Yeah. And I mean, it's the same thing. But what I had to try and find was that balance with Craigyard. It would be very unfair to leave Craigyard go 4 weeks with no game, so somebody could catch up. That's not fair on somebody either. So I had to find a balance. So I started leaving Craigyard off every second week. I started giving New York, and we tried to be so fair to New York too. Like, I deliberately left them off the Wednesday before the LFA games.
Yeah.
I put them out the Wednesday after, but I left them off the Wednesday before to try and find that balancing act. But this year with 10 teams in the Premier, it's going to be just if somebody gets runs in the outside competitions, because of the fact, as you said, we don't have the bright evenings, we don't have the lovely pitches in the evening, you can't play catch up, and it does make the fixtures job very difficult. But I suppose one of the unique things about our league is, if you look at it, we're all independent.
Okay.
Right, there's none of us clubmen. Like, I know in your bio there, I used to play for Parkville, but my son's played for Burn Celtic. One of my sons is currently the assistant manager of the Premier team there. Noel's not a clubman. Mick's not a clubman. Burner's not a clubman. Keith's not a clubman anymore. He had to give up his role if he wanted to come into us. So we're all very neutral. We're all very fair to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's my big thing with the fixtures.
Who was Keith involved in?
Keith was involved in Parkville for years. He was a secretary, he was a treasurer, he was manager. Yeah,
okay.
He was everything, and he left when I asked him to come on board as treasurer. He had to give up. It's one of the rules we have, and I know it's something people.
Rule,
yeah, and that way you can't be accused of any bias. Like, I haven't. People would have often said to me when I started reffing, "Oh, you're a Parkville man," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have no affiliation with Parkville. I wouldn't have had for the last 20 years. And my job as fixture secretary is to sit down right with a clear head and work out. Okay, well, look, this is not fair in New York, this is not fair in Craigyard, but here's the balance, and they'll just have to suck it up and get on with it. And that's kind of the way it goes. And again, if you had the summer soccer to a certain degree, you could play catch up. But what we're trying to do is help our clubs grow their facilities, so that we can all eventually have lights, we can all eventually play in the evenings, and that there won't be any issues anymore with the catch ups.
Yeah, and it's not a direction you can kind of veer from. So your attitude is, because the transparency you've shown here to me and Pop in this podcast, is that we're willing to help, we're willing to develop clubs once we're going the same direction.
Yeah.
So once we're on the same path. So this thing of, summer soccer, no, here's the vote, it hasn't worked. Jump on this truck now because we're developing, or, do you know what I mean, go elsewhere. I think that might be the cutthroat attitude needed to develop and to progress. I think summer soccer, going by the stats there,
I don't think anybody would have known the figures were that strong against
Wouldn't have had a clue
until you brought it in there, Brie. They would have said, it was shut down. Yeah, but I didn't think it was shut down.
Yeah, no, shut down. Like the Leinster Senior League, and the Leinster Senior League, the biggest league in it, 132 clubs, and 100 of them said no.
Yeah,
but that's
a statement in itself, though.
Yeah,
that league.
A lot of them play Saturday soccer, though.
Yeah.
So that probably suits them as well, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to ask you as well. With clubs moving to Friday night, Saturday night and Sunday mornings, does that hinder or help you?
Oh, very much helped us.
Really?
Very much helped me do the fixtures. Helped with the appointment of referees.
Yeah.
Helped spread out the games. No, very much, very, very helpful. Now, I know Vale have gone back to Sunday morning at 11, so we'll only have Collection this year on a Friday night.
Have Vale gone back to Sunday morning?
Vale have gone back, yeah. Okay. They've got a new management team in there who wanted an extra night's training. So they've gone back Sunday at 11. So Collection will be doing the Friday night game, and then we'll have Burn Celtic and Pats in the Premier
evenings.
and St. Fuchs in on a Saturday evening in Division 1. But still, it's a massive help to us to spread it out that way. It really does help us.
Vale and Sunday.
It was actually probably a bit of a bitter pill to swallow. I remember when I was at Vale and we got the Astro, I had asked could we play Friday nights, but the league were like, no, I don't think we're ready for it.
No, and at that time I suppose we weren't.
Yeah.
And then more clubs, Astros became available, more clubs approached us, and it was a common sense thing again as progress. Yeah. As you say, we tried to progress as much as we can, and one thing, as I said, we've always done is we listen to our clubs.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, if our clubs had come in, as much as myself and Noel and Mick and Bernard might be against summer soccer, if our clubs had come in the other way around, 16 won today, well then we would have said, yeah, we'll back our clubs, because that's what we do. We very much back our clubs and support all our
just
clubs.
listen to the people,
That's
and the
what
people
we're-
say no, that's it.
And that's what we're there for.
It's quite simple, like, yeah.
It's brilliant because they're all you're in. It's, I know I'll use this word 10 times already. Transparency, right? They're all you're in. It's very difficult to be transparent.
Yeah.
Because you can't give away anything, right?
No.
But just on the little things, Brian, of the work you do as secretary, of the work you're doing in the league in relation to grants, the way you're helping clubs, like, you should be advertising that to the moon,
I think you should
man.
promote that.
I know you can't tell people everything. I get that.
I wouldn't say mention figures,
Yeah.
but we're helping these teams, and
Yeah.
the people.
No, it is, and I'll take it back. Yeah, no, and I'll take that back to the committee. And I know on the launch last night, Noel did read out some of the clubs we have given grants to. But yeah, no, definitely it's something we will.
Oh, I'm telling
We
you.
will, and we
It's
always
really
try to
good
be.
for you.
No, and we always
100%.
try to be as
Yeah.
transparent as we can. As I said, in hindsight, when we look back, the statement in terms of the relegation last year should have been a little bit more clearer as to
But
why.
see, it's hard when you get negative feedback,
Yeah.
regardless of all the positive things you do. It's very hard to come back from the negative ones.
Yeah,
It's very hard to come back from that because your image is ruined.
yeah, yeah.
But if no one knows what you're doing, like,
It was
you
a
should be
tricky
calling
situation,
red
that
ones.
one. It was just a delicate one. the way-
Yeah. And I suppose just to touch on another one then, in terms, while you think of it there, in terms of the disciplinary side. So there's 5 of us, and as I said, we're all neutral. So our rule is there has to be 3 of us available for a disciplinary. Now normally the 5 of us are there, but our hands are very much tied by the laws of the game. So we talk about transparency. Okay, so I would say that 95% of our sending offs are automatically dealt with because of the rules. So under the FAI, LFA, Carlow League rules, if a referee ticks the box that he sent you off for violent conduct, it's 3 games minimum. We can't give you any less. Okay, so I mean, it doesn't need a disciplinary committee to sit down and thrash that out.
It's 3 games.
Okay, serious foul play is 2 games. Serious misconduct is 1 game. Dogso is 1 game. 2 yellows is 1 game. So
And that's automatically the next
Automatically.
game. The next game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bar the 2 yellows.
no puppet.
Bar the 2 yellows. The 2 yellows aren't automatically the next game, but the rest are automatically the next game. But what I'm saying is, there's
Oh, you can get 2 yellows and get a red, but you might be able to play.
no, sorry. If you get 2 yellows, it's an automatic game. It's an automatic ban. Sorry, the 4 yellows. It's the 4
Oh,
yellows.
sorry, yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
it's the 4 yellows.
Yeah.
If you get 2 yellows, you're automatically. Once you're sent off from the field of play,
Just the next
you're
game.
automatically suspended for the next game, and then the following Monday night you'll be in the Seven Oaks for your disciplinary hearing, and then we'll tell you whether it's 2 or 3, or if it stayed at the 1. If it stayed at the 1.
Is there an improvement in that side of things?
Yeah, because the FAI changed the rules in the last number of years and made it very black and white.
Okay.
And it's now so simple, as I said. If the referees have the 7 sending off offences.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 2 Dogsos. One
What's
is
a dog saw?
denied an obvious goal scoring opportunity. It's called Dogso.
That's brilliant. A dog saw.
It's called the Dogso. So denial of an obvious goal denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity by handball or by a foul.
Yeah.
So either the 2 Dogsos is a 1 game ban.
Automatic.
Okay, so if you handle the ball at the goal line or if you deliberately pull a lad down, they're automatic 1 game bans.
And is it in that competition, Brian? Sorry, when you're going that. Like, so if you get sent off in the Shield.
No, if it's in Carlow, it's in Carlow.
Right.
So it's your next game in Carlow.
It's your next game in
Because you
Carlow.
could have knocked out that shield, you see.
You know what I mean? But if you get
no,
sent
it's your
off
next
in the
game in
Shield
Carlow.
and you go through, you win the game.
Yeah, no, it's your next game
Does
in
it
Carlow.
not stay? It's your next. Will be
It's
the
your
next
next game
league
in Carlow. Yeah, it
Right,
doesn't
okay,
matter.
yeah.
Okay, whereas the outside competitions are different.
Yeah, that's
they're-
why the 3 boys in New York missed that because
Yes.
it was in that competition.
Exactly. So your 2 Dogsos are 1 game. Your 2 yellows are 1 game.
Dogso.
And then your serious foul or your misconduct. So you do something minor and the referee sends you off is 1 game. And then your serious foul play. So the only time it can get a little bit complicated is when if the referee hasn't taken serious foul play and violent conduct and you're reading the report and you're trying to work out is this
What
serious,
is
this serious foul play or
Yeah.
is this violent conduct. But like it doesn't matter who the club is, doesn't matter who the player is, doesn't matter who the referee is. The rules now are black and white. So that's made life a lot easier for us. It really has, in terms of disciplinary and handing out the suspensions. And it's really streamlined everything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I asked that question. Is I presume that has progressed even in volumes then, like of the amount of disciplinary meetings you have to go to and all that crap,
Yeah.
because there's just so,
Yeah.
as I said, it's streamlined.
Streamlined.
Like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's the same then if you're fouling abusive language or gestures to a referee, automatic 3 game ban.
It's preset.
It's preset.
Brilliant.
No matter what happens, it's an automatic 3 game ban. So if you're sent off for 2 yellows and you swear at the ref as you're leaving the pitch, well now that's 3 game ban. It's fouling abusive language.
Yeah.
Supersedes the two yellows. So once you swear at a ref now, and that was one of the big things after that the FAI brought in. And then there's the minimum 6 months and year and whatever for deemed as assault, accidental assault or deliberate assault or push a referee or whatever. So it's all streamlined. It's all so much easier. It's in black and white. It's very simple. It's very straightforward to follow. And it makes life easier for everybody.
Is foul and abusive language a fable then, is it, if the other one's a dog's are?
I can't believe Nighty's never heard the expression dogs are.
No. Which this is, we don't know. You know, we were getting Brian Riley, get him up here, going to rinse him. He's ruining the league. You mentioned you refereed for a long time, 20 years refereeing. Any highlights?
Yeah, God, many highlights. 2002 was a special one.
Yeah.
Myself and Morgan were on the School of Excellence at the time. We were picked to referee Ireland and the Czech Republic under 16s.
Brilliant.
Made history.
Where was that?
It was in Dublin.
Tolka, was it? Tolka?
Boat lining or...
Yeah, boat lining for, there was a League of Ireland ref in the
I
middle.
think I was at that match one.
And Brian Kerr was the manager of the Irish team. And I'll never forget, he gave Morgan awful abuse going in at half time. You flagged one of my lads offside and he wasn't offside. Morgan was well able for him. But that was pretty historic. I still have the Evening Herald and the Irish Independent clipping at home. Twins make history. We were the first set of twins ever to officiate an international game. And we got a little tie pin from the Czech Republic. And I still have it. Brilliant. And I wear it on my tie whenever I'm going to weddings or things like that. That was a really special day. I did an under 15 SFAI final down in Dean Celtic's pitch. Can't remember who was playing. That was way back. And then obviously I was involved in an Oscar Traynor final. I was on the line for a game that Jim was doing, and that was a special day out as well.
Yeah.
And I think the most memorable thing, and I know Jim spoke about when he was on, was the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
That was probably the most memorable thing I did in my 20 years. It was just remarkable to be involved at the opening ceremony, the closing ceremony, but then to be refereeing the games was something special.
Unbelievable.
It really was. It was something special.
Great man was there, wasn't he? Muhammad Ali. Wasn't he the main man?
Yeah. That was really good now. And to be honest, when I gave it up, I thought I'd miss it, and I did. I missed it something fierce for the first 6 months. Really did. But now...
What are you missing?
Believe it or not, the biggest thing I missed was the exercise.
Right.
You can... Like, I took up running when I gave up reffing. And I've ran several marathons now and whatever else.
Yeah.
But you cannot replace those steps on a Saturday and a Sunday. Like, I could run a half marathon, 21 kilometres on a Saturday morning now, and I still wouldn't beat some of the steps I used to run on a Saturday.
What steps are you clocking up over Saturday and Sunday?
You'd be clocking up over 30,000 if you're doing it.
Would you?
Yeah. Like if I went out on a Saturday, morning and I reffed an under 16 game at 10 o'clock, then I reffed an under 14 game at half 11, then I reffed an under 12 game at 1 o'clock, and then I did a youth game at half 2. I'd be coming home over 30,000 steps.
That's nuts.
And you can't replace it. And the calories you're burning, everything. And I know a lot. I know Morgan was the same when he gave it up for a while. You don't belong realising.
No, it's unbelievable.
You know what I mean? And then you hear people say, "Oh, you're a central circle ref," like nonsense.
Yeah.
Like there are under 12s. I would have been the opposite. There would have been many a Saturday morning I'd be running from box to box and people would look at me, "Why are you running?" I'm trying to stay warm. I'm freezing. I'm freezing. Like, but that was the first thing I noticed.
Okay.
I really significantly missed the exercise. But no, like that, a bit like what you say. One of my regrets as a referee was I didn't get to see my own kids play football, and that was something that I look back on now. Particularly my younger son Dylan, he was very good.
Fullback.
He was very good. No, he was a centre midfielder.
Did he play for Parkville? You know.
He only when he was young.
What year was he born, Brian?
Dylan was 2006.
He was on the academy, right?
He was, yeah. But he was very good. I didn't get to see enough of his games. I didn't get to see enough of Craig's games when he was finishing up either, because I was always out reffing. I was out like I said, I'd leave the house on a Saturday at 9:30 and mightn't get home till 4:30.
Yeah.
Now I get family time again back at weekends. I get to play my golf all year round. So people used to call me the summer golfer. And my golf clubs went in the attic on the 1st of September and didn't come back out till the 1st of March because I was reffing all day Saturday and Sunday and the evenings were dark. I used to be called the summer golfer, so I'd start back in April. And sure, then by August I'd have lost a load of shots because of 3 months of the year on the golf, 3 months on the golf course, and then the golf clubs would go back in the attic. Now I get to play my golf on a Saturday all year round, and then I get to spend time on Sunday with the family.
That's the beauty with the fixtures as well. When you're doing, like, if we're playing on this, like, I don't play golf in the winter set when it was only Sunday fixtures only. But now you can do a match on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and you can do your golf on a Sunday as well. You know, so there's loads of, like, if you have different hobbies as well, it's great like that.
So I find
off with the family on a Sunday.
And that's what I find now. Like, so I get into a little habit now on a Sunday where I'll generally go to a Premier game at 11, and then myself and the missus will go out for Sunday dinner or whatever and spend time. I go see my mum and dad on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I get all
You
that.
go to a game every Sunday?
I would try to. I
Yeah.
don't go every
Different
Sunday.
game.
I try to.
Yeah.
Try to. I feel
Good that you do, though.
I feel, and I know the lads do. Mick and Noel and that, and Keaton and Bernard Tent as well.
Noel will
It's,
be a big
we
attender
want,
again.
we want to be seen to be active and seen to be out there. Now I don't get going every Sunday. The last number of years I went every Saturday because my son was playing youths.
Right.
So I did go to a youths, and I would have got to see every youths team because I went wherever he was playing. I went down to Ballymurphy, wherever he was playing. I went. So I would have seen all of the youth teams the last number of years. And I can tell you, lads, there's a lot of good lads coming through. There's a lot of young lads coming through there from some of the clubs.
Are you analysing refs then when you're?
I wouldn't be. No, I don't do that.
Not any area in the mind where you're thinking. Because
would a ref come over to you and ask your opinion?
No.
Like
In
a
fairness,
rule, is it?
No, it's not like a rule, but we just wouldn't do it.
Because I remember having Jim on and asking him when he went into the session role. I think the biggest grey area for him was analysing referees.
Yeah, no, it was something I kind of switched off my refereeing head. And
I think you have to, sure.
Yeah, 100%. And if I'm at a game now, I wouldn't, unless I wanted to check a match card or something, I wouldn't approach the referee at all.
Like when I finished the time at Pat's, the last spell I had, I didn't go to a game for 2.5 years.
I was the same. I didn't go to a game.
I couldn't go. I just couldn't go watch it.
No interest in it.
Couldn't go enjoy it. Just couldn't. Just too deep, too thoughtful, too much going on in your mind. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. No. As I said, and yeah. Now would I go back? No, I probably wouldn't. Like under the new rules now, there's nothing to stop me. I could referee in Kilkenny or Kildare now. So you can referee, league administrators can referee, go back refereeing now, as long as they're not in their own league. So
take your toes fixed first, though.
Technically, I could referee in Kildare or Kilkenny now, but no, I've no interest anymore. And I didn't think that. If you'd asked me in 2018 or 2019, I would have said I'd stay going as long as Pat Moran is. I'd stay going until I'm well into my 70s. Until I'm well. And maybe when I retire, as a school teacher,
take it back up.
I might take it back up. Because I know how short we are midweek for officials. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Would you go back and do two of them, or just the juvenile games, or would you do?
I'd probably only do the juveniles, and the school games. Like I know how hard it is for us to get a referee. Like I could be texting there, and it's so hard to get a referee during the week now for schools games. And we've so many school games with record number of teams in the school. And I suppose the plus side to that too is that gives me my chance to keep my coaching. I loved my coaching. I had some great times coaching. And
you on Kennedy Cup, right?
I did. And I know you had some kind words to my dad a few weeks back.
Yeah.
He was, I suppose, Mr. Kennedy Cup in Carlow is what he was called.
He was.
For many years there would have been no Kennedy Cup, only for Dad. He, I always remember him the week of the Kennedy Cup on the Sunday going to Super Value and he getting the box of cereal. In them days there was no chefs or anything like that, and there was no such thing as a house person. Dad went and bought them. Dad went and bought the milk and the cereal, and I remember it was 2002, I think, was my team, and I remember staying in the house. I had Jimmy Bolton. Paddy Brannigan and Laura Mercy was me centre midfielder with Julian Strain. Dale Byrne was my striker. Pookie Canavan, Jack Kennedy from Parkville. That was my team. And I remember being in the house with Pookie and Jack. I was in their house, and I remember they were eating pizza for breakfast and they were eating cereal for dinner.
Was Darren Hayden on that as well?
He was, yeah. And I love the coaching, and again I had to give that up when I took up the refereeing, but I get that buzz now still from the school. And I've been lucky enough over the years. Like I've coached some unbelievable players in the school. We've been so lucky. Like we had Eric Malloy, who's back now in Carlow. Like Eric was the only player in the history of Tullow Community School to represent Ireland. I nominated him in 2010 for the Irish schools team. And I still remember the day the principal came over to the sports hall to me to tell me that he's after making it. And the whole school gathered around an assembly in the canteen, and Ireland were playing England live on Sky Sports at 2 o'clock in the middle of the day. And the whole school watched Eric play for Ireland against England schools.
That was in
and he's still the only player. And we had Kelly Nolan, one of the girls. She was the only girl we've ever had represent us at school level. But at the moment in the school soccer, it's the girls that's thriving. And I think that's... I know the Gaynor Cup success. I think I had 4 or 5 of the girls from the Gaynor Cup team. I had a lot of Burn Celtic girls who are very successful at the moment. But at the moment, at the underage, from my point of view, anyway, locally in Tullow, it's the girls are way above the boys, and I'm really enjoying coaching them.
It's a lot. It's a lot on your plate. Like, how do you teach? How do you get?
I know
10 teams.
I know 10 teams. Yeah. Well, the principal says it won't be happening this year. But I suppose if I didn't take them, no one did.
Yeah, okay.
So like I had 14s, 15s, 17s, 19s, boys and girls. There was a TY. So I'm getting help this year. But look, it's great to see. It gives me the opportunity.
Did you set up? Sorry to cut across you. I remember. I used to go to a lot of schools games because you had lads played Kennedy Cup, as you would pop as well, that were in around it. Like Kieran's College, was it? Kieran's College.
Yeah.
Total Community School.
Yeah.
CBS.
So we have the Carlow Kilkenny League, and
I thought you set that up.
I look after that.
Right, okay.
I look after that. I'm an executive member on the FAI schools, and I look after the Carlow Kilkenny leagues. So basically, now when I go back on 1st of September, every single school in Carlow and Kilkenny will receive an affiliation form. They'll affiliate. I'll form the 3 divisions at 19. Well, schools moved years ago when the FEI changed it. So schools were always 14s, 16s and 18s. They moved to 15s, 17s and 19s, and then they have a special first year competition.
Okay.
And the move to 15, 17 and 19s was quite difficult. That was done to accommodate transition years.
Okay.
And we didn't have compulsory TY in Tullow, and we really struggled. We've really struggled at 19s for the last number of years, whereas your bigger schools who have compulsory TY, you've got proper 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like I remember we went to play CBS Kilkenny, all these lads with moustaches and beards, and my lads are looking at them thinking, what's going on here, sir? Like, but and I suppose we're quite lucky in Carlow. We would have had, like, the only team school that doesn't enter in Carlow, unfortunately, is not Beg.
Sure.
And we've written to them every single year. I write to them every year asking them to enter, and they don't. But other than that, school soccer is thriving. Like Pierre Krogan is another example. He followed in Eric's footsteps. I know you had him on
his massive contract, Austin FC.
I know you had him on a few weeks ago, and it was great to hear him. But he was the same. He went the same route as Eric. He played for the Irish schools team as well. And I remember playing against him, CBS. Like we had the 2 lads there, Tony Clear and Pádraig Lawler. Is not Pádraig. What's his name? In the CBS there, he's involved.
Oh, Jamie.
Yeah,
Jamie. Yeah.
Like those, the battles I've had with them lads over the last number of years.
Yeah.
It would have always been in finals with them lads.
Yeah.
And they've produced some amazing teams. They've produced some amazing teams, and that's why I think for school soccer is so important. So our next step now is to get a local girls' league going. Brilliant. At the moment, our girls are all in with Leinster at the moment because we haven't got enough schools. But this year now, for the first time, the Prez had a girls' team. Leos have obviously had girls' teams. I had a really successful. Hackestown had a girls' team. Boris had a girls' team. So we're hoping now this year we'll have enough entries to have a Carlow Kilkenny girls' league.
That's brilliant.
But as I say, it's all time consuming. The wife tells me she's the 4th love of my life. She says Liverpool. She says Liverpool come first. Soccer comes second, golf comes third, and she comes fourth. I tell her nonsense. She's number one.
Top 5. Not bad.
Made the fist.
Tell me this. We ask most guests this question. So you're 20 years refereeing Carlow soccer. As mentioned that. Give me your 11.
Oh, this was such a difficult task.
Say that.
When I got your message, I was like, no, how am I going to do this? So I've tried to pick a team based on over the years and not keep it all. So obviously 20 years ago, my memory's terrible too. So trying to think back.
Have you picked the shape first of all?
Well, you want to laugh at this now because my son's giving me an awful time. I'm a 4-4-2 man.
Oh yeah, go on.
I've always been a 4-4-2 man.
Same as me haircut, 4-4-2.
I've always been a 4-4-2 man. Don't believe in.
Do you still play 4-4-2?
I do, and I always believe. I don't anymore with the boys' teams because they don't let me. I blame FIFA.
Hold on, no, stop.
I blame FIFA. So up to about 7 years ago, nobody understood anything other than 4-4-2, and then all of a sudden,
how many years ago?
I would have said about 7 years ago.
No.
Now all of a sudden young lads are coming in, hey sir, can I play cam? And I'm looking at them, what's a cam? Centre attacking midfielder, can I play DCM? And I'm like, and then it changed to a 6 and then 8 and a 10. And I'm kind of like thinking, lads, it's 4-4-2 here, straight forward. And I actually remember what really made me change my mind was I went to Dublin. Now, I'm going to say it was 6 or 8 years ago. It was Craig Staunton and Kevin Murphy. Two of the best young centre midfielders I've had in my school. Like Kevin went on to play for Wexford Youths
and Ireland,
and Craig played at a really high level in Carlow. And we went up to Dublin to play 4-4-2. We were 2-0 down after 15 minutes, and the 2 boys were like, "Sir, we're getting killed in midfield. You need to put a third man in here. We're getting killed." And of course I'm like, being stubborn, I was like, I'm not giving in. I'm 4-4-2 and that's the way I am. And we had Brian Byrne playing up front.
I'm losing 7-0 but I'm not changing the shit. I don't care.
We had Brian Byrne playing up front again, went on to play for Wexford Youths. So I asked Brian to drop back into the 10. We got back and won the game 3-2, and the lads never gave me so much abuse the whole way home in the bus. Now sorry, your 4-4-2 is too old, it's out fashioned, it's not done anymore. So I suppose in general, no, we would play a 6 and 8 and a 10. But now my formation is generally 4-5-1. And my youngest son gives me an awful time over it. He goes, "You mean 4-3-3?" And I'm like, "No, it's 4-5-1. I don't believe in playing. My left and right is a left and right midfielder, not a left right winger. You're up and down the pitch, and that's kind of it. I'm old school to that certain degree.
Yeah, no, but I stand by it as well because I like 4-4-2. I like, and I think
certain games.
I actually think looking at the Premier League at the weekend, watching United, watching Liverpool, they're starting to press with 4 now.
Yeah,
so
it's actually starting to become a thing
if
where
you're still against Liverpool on Saturday,
where 4-4-2 is coming back in, but it's going to be a narrow 4-4-2.
Yeah.
And there's no number 9 anymore.
Yeah.
Like, look at Fernandez from United.
Yeah.
He was in the number 9 position. And so they're playing with split centre forwards who look after fullbacks. And they're leaving centre halves on it. Does that make sense?
Does, yeah.
So the 4-4-2 is actually coming back. So you could find out pretty soon that you're going back using it.
Yeah. So look, we start off in the goal. I suppose there's a couple of choices here, but I ended up going with the Everton man, Gavin Dowling.
Yeah.
Oh, Gav, yeah.
What a keeper he was. In fairness to him. I know I give the poor Everton fans an awful time, but
They deserve it.
in fairness, there was John Graham from Craigyard there gave him a close run.
Did, yeah.
And
John was a good one.
there was Niall Connolly. Niall would have played with Parkville, Castle Rangers. I play golf now a bit with Niall.
Right. He is playing golf, yeah.
He was some keeper.
Yeah.
He really was. But I went with Gavin in the goal. Centre back side was my biggest problem. What is it about Carlow and how we were blessed with centre backs?
Yeah.
Like Paul Gibbons, Miley Dorn, Davy Walker, David James from Parkville, Bobby Dowling, Dotsy. So I kind of settled with Davy Walker and Miley Dorn as being the two.
Right.
Little and large, I suppose. Miley at the time was playing for Strefford. What a player.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
And he came out with that black knee band and you thought this lad's not going to last 90 minutes.
You look at him and you'd say,
He was unbelievable. He really was. And Davy for New Oak, sure, nothing got past him. Nothing got past him. And wasn't he part of that really successful over 35 team?
He was. He won Leinster,
yeah.
Gavin let out the field in that.
Scored the winner in the final.
That's right, yeah.
No, I'm not playing the goal. Never Pat, I'm not playing the goal.
There was also David Shanahan from Bourne Celtic. I had the privilege of playing with Davy for a number of years.
Yeah.
And then
Gas man.
So I put Dotsy out right back. I made room for Dotsy O'Shea right back. I did. And Craig Comerford at left back.
Yeah, Craig.
I think in fairness now, of all the left backs I've refed over the years, that man's been in Craigyard many years. Yeah. So that's kind of the back four I went with.
Okay.
Good back four.
In midfield, again, a couple of positions. I had four in the centre. I had Chris O'Mara, Colin Osborne, Dean Kelly and Lee Murphy. Would have been four of the better lads I would have refed, I would have felt. And trying to pick two of those is not a simple task, lads. Like Lee Murphy was some player.
Brilliant.
And I only had Dean really at juvenile level, but you could tell the talent. You could tell the talent was coming through. And as for Ozzy and Christos, sure, two Cray legends. In fairness, when you went out to Cray, you knew what you were getting with them two lads. So I've kind of settled on putting one of each to keep the two clubs happy.
Okay.
So I'm going to put Colin in there with Lee in the centre. On the right side, it's terrible, I can't think of his name, but Kite. Davis, was it?
Mark Davis.
What a player I thought he was.
Yeah.
Tricky.
He's a match winner and he's there.
He suited me in the old fashioned 4-4-2. He was your classic He was your classic midfielder. He'd run all day for you. He'd run all day for you. And on the other side it was a choice between Danny Thompson and Lee Walker. Again, two lads who I thought would work in that system for you. So I went with Lee. And then up front, well sure, I had to try and pick from five. I had back in the time Alan Kelly.
Unbelievable. I always said it.
Like,
you can see every team I pick.
Alan really could have made it at a higher level. Like, Alan was a member of my youth team that won the double-double. I got to play with Alan, and his brother Ronan would have played 1 year with us. He was overage the second year. But Alan was just, and I remember the first year he turned over 35. He ran the league.
So you couldn't get the ball off.
He ran the league right. He was phenomenal. Graham Delaney.
Graham.
Like, you knew when you went to Hanover, he was scoring goals. And there was no other way about it. He knew where the net was. Jamie Farrell in Parkville.
Brilliant,
was unbelievable.
A
little bit injury prone, but again, he knew where. Killed him, didn't he? Yeah, but he knew where the net was, and he scored some special goals when I refereed him.
Baby Ale, I call him. Every time he baby Ale in his legs.
Good
player, lads.
And then more recent, I suppose, it'd be Lee Salter and Danny Doyle again. And Danny last year was obviously phenomenal. And again, I would have only, a bit like Dean, I would have only refed Danny kind of at youth level coming through. So I kind of settled with Alan Kelly and Graham Delaney. I think we wouldn't be short on goals. We wouldn't be short on goals. And so I stuck in Brian Kerr as the manager.
Morgan won't be happy with that.
No.
It says on Danny, he'll be a loss, won't he?
He'd be massive, and I didn't realise until I interviewed the lads last night, I didn't realise Robbie Kane was gone as well.
Gone to North End.
And Mert said that's 46 goals taken out of his team.
Yeah, massive.
Like, that's going to be massive to any team. It'll be a big loss to our Oscar Traynor side as well, the two of them would be.
Do you have any predictions for the Premier Division next year?
I have no idea. I don't like doing predictions to a certain degree as being a neutral. What I want, if I'm being honest with you, is I want a 4-way or 5-way battle. I don't want this 1 or 2 way battle.
Do you agree that we're in a position for it?
I think we're getting near it. I'd like to think that New Oak's phenomenal success have forced other clubs to get better.
I think I agree. Yeah,
I'd like.
I think they had to. I said it last week.
I think like what New Oak did was everyone has to put their hands up, and I think there's this horrible thing that nobody wanted New Oak's success. That's not true either. It was just unusual for it to happen the way it happened. Nobody ever seen a quadruple done, and then to do it a second time.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And like they were so successful last year, they won 2 trophies, and they wouldn't have thought that was a success. Like, but what I would like is a proper battle. I'd like 4 or 5 teams in with a shout at winning it, with 4 or 5 games to go. That's just from my point of view, from a fixture point of view, from a neutral who goes to all the games. I just hope it doesn't.
I can't see 5. I think you're going to get 3.
Well, even if we started with 3 this year,
maybe 4. Maybe 4 might fall
I think
away.
Burn Celtic won't be too far off, lads.
No.
I really don't. I think you mentioned in an interview with them last night. They're probably missing a small bit of experience. I heard their captain's gone to Oz.
Yeah,
but they've no fear.
No, and it's a hard place to go to on a Saturday night.
Very, very hard place to go.
It's very windy. We all know how open that place is.
Yeah, wide open.
I think they'll be thereabouts.
Yeah, and look, it'll be interesting to see what Collection do with their new management team. Pat's hopefully will come back strong. Hanover, how are you looking, Pop?
That's right. Kipper Gaelic at the moment, unfortunately.
Right.
Spoofer.
No. Like them.
Spoofer.
No, lost a group. Lost a couple of players. Got a couple in. I can't see us winning the league. I won't tell you a lie, but we'll be hopefully a little bit stronger than last year.
Yeah.
I think just going off the games, like to say when I'm back, this is my 3rd season back now involved, and the first season I was involved, we would have signed a couple of players and we were decent, but we either bet a team really well or we're on the wrong side of a 2-1 or a 2-0. Last year, we scored in the last minute against Kilree last year, draw 1-1, and we were lucky.
Right. Yeah,
we scored against you in Pats to score. Like I think in the year it jumped so close. It became so tight. Like,
and that's what I would hope for.
We lost the 3 points over the legal player in possession, and I think I made it up. I think we dropped 13 points or 12 points from winning positions. Not at half time. I'm talking 15-20 minutes to go.
Yeah,
we were 2-1 up in Par for last 3-2. We were up on Bagenstown. Gritty Yard. Got back to 2-2 with 10 minutes to go. They scored the last minute winner, or the last 5 minutes. Pat scored the last game against us. I'm like, that's 10 or 12 points, along with the 3 that we dropped, say, in the
yeah, well, it's I thought it was very
100%, and that's what I would hope for. I would just hope for a nice tight league, no big hidings, nobody left a foot at the bottom.
Don't want to see that.
Nobody left a foot at the bottom of their own. And you don't want to see. And I suppose the Tully's Travel is always the hardest league to win.
Oh, I think it's toughest league.
And everyone out there is saying, St. Felix are the clear favourites. Lads, do not write Ballymurphy, Dolman or Slaney off. No. Any club that's a one-team club.
Well, that's what
any club that's a one-team club. And I know Baltinglass are coming up and Vale are coming up, and it will be Vale's B team and whatever else. And I suppose that's the thing. And I know you touched on it last week to a certain degree, Podge. There's the one downside to the B team rule with the four games.
Yeah,
you can get very unlucky. Like if Dolman or Ballymurphy say got St. Pat's on the first day of the season and got them on the last day of the season, you're probably playing against a totally different team. Because clubs can use those players, and that can be a slight unfair advantage. But again, there's no real way around that. As a league, you have to be fair to the B team player and give them a chance to go up, but at the same time go back. But that Tully's Travel can be the hardest division to win,
and I think it'd even be tougher if you got a reserve division. So as you mentioned, if the Premier teams had a B team, that's your reserve division. That makes that first division even tougher.
Yeah,
because it's teams with their first team in it.
Yeah,
it makes it, and that will progress the Premier. It'll progress the third division as well.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because there's no B teams in the top 3. Your B team is reserve, which will be a seriously competitive league as well, and that rules out the 4-game thing. Then,
do you know
so
what
I mean?
As things stand, I think Pats B are the only B team in the Tully's Travel.
Pretty RB?
No, they're
relegated.
Were they?
Yeah.
Down in the...
Relegated into the White's Pharmacy. So you're going to have...
Fail B.
So you're going to have 7 of the 9 clubs are teams' first teams.
That's brilliant.
And that's going to be a really, really competitive division. And we all know how difficult it is to go to Dolman, how difficult it is to go to Slaney, how difficult it is to go to Ballymurphy, how difficult it is to go to Felix. That's going to be a really competitive division.
Yeah, I think so.
And then the bottom division is one of those things where you can just never predict, because clubs it's predominantly, like, I think of the 11 teams, I think 7 of them are B teams.
Yeah.
And some clubs B teams go all out to win. Some clubs B teams are kind of social football on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You never really know what you're going to get. So from a league's point of view, we would just hope that we get a really competitive couple of divisions, and as I said, there's no one left stranded at the bottom, and there's no one running away with it at the top. That's what I would be hoping for.
You'll have Joseph's, Nurney, Wolf Hill in that bottom division.
Yeah.
Will you? Castle
Yeah.
or Castle in division.
Castle are promoted.
Promote.
Well, no, at the moment they're in that division. Sorry, Castle are in that division
So
as well.
there's four
Yeah.
traditionally decent
Yeah.
clubs, right?
Yeah.
Do you know, like it wouldn't be a bad division either.
Yeah.
Do you know? I suppose it depends on the start from, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To have to get a good
Yeah.
start.
And again, hopefully by moving till the 7th of October to start,
It'll help that.
it helps those big GAA clubs. Like
sure.
Wolf Hill have said that to me already. Like there's
Massive help, yeah.
And that's the whole idea behind it. Is that you're not
That's the
you're not
first league
hindered.
games for
You're not
everybody.
you're not hindered. Yeah, that's the first league games. Well, the Premier will be playing it midweek before that.
Right.
But it's to help those clubs so that they're not hindered by that big problem of losing your first 3 or 4 games before the guy's over.
Yeah.
Lads look at the league table. Oh, sure, I'm not going back to play soccer for the winter. We've already played 4, lost 4.
But sure, even if you traditionally look at the say 7 or 8 years, or even 10 years ago, the Shield was the way it is now, and like you could draw Carlow Rovers and you're beating them 11-0 because they're missing most of their Gal lads that they would have. Like, and I just think it's ridiculous. But now you look at it because it's starting a little bit later.
Yeah, but you're learning nothing from winning 11.
100%.
They're not losing 11. So like
it's false.
Pointless game.
It's false.
Yeah.
But I think it's more competitive now. I really do. I actually think we're going to get to a space where the league is progressing so much that you're just going to have soccer players. And I think we're close enough to it. Like,
yeah, and that's my kind of my
popular.
argument, and that's why I'm pushing ahead with the Premier game starting that little bit earlier, midweek in September. Because my argument is every Premier club out there has 11 lads who don't play GAA probably.
well, we do easily, Brian.
Mightn't be your strongest 11, but you have 11.
I'd say 6 of our starting. I'd say 8 of our starting 11 don't play GAA.
But I don't know, as a small county, will we ever get to the stage where we get soccer only?
Oh no, never.
I don't think so.
It'll never happen.
I don't
Never.
think so.
Not in the,
I really don't.
in a Newark, in a Parkville maybe, in a Pats you might, but you, as you said,
we
it
definitely wouldn't.
it wouldn't be your choice.
O'Loughlin, Pal, Blues, Airog.
But I think
They're
even
all players representing me.
Yeah. And this is the problem with some clubs. Like I interviewed the Parkville lads last night. They're pulling from 6 GA clubs.
I heard that actually, yeah.
Like they've got Clonmore, they've got the Fighting Cocks, they've got Ballin, they've got Tullow, they've got Grange, they've got Ravilli.
Yeah.
They're pulling from 6 GA clubs. Paddy Barry from Bottinglass was telling me he's in big trouble. Jack Kenny's gone playing GAA for a while. A lot of his lads are gone playing GAA. They're going to struggle for the first couple of weeks of the season. I mean, so the rural clubs like that who are dependent on the GAA players do tend to struggle. And like what you say, at least if you're only pulling from one GAA club, you might, and they get knocked out early. But when you're relying on 6, you can be sure half of those are going to get to semi-finals and finals.
Yeah.
Newark will be the most blessed club like that. I think there's only Lee Walker, maybe Desert Craig.
Conor Byrne gone back in.
Conor Byrne's
Is
back
he-
in, I believe, but he's to Ireland. But I don't know whether he's playing football. Like
Craig Carney plays
Pal,
surely.
yeah.
Does he for Pal?
Yeah, and you see when you're pulling from multiple clubs, it just doesn't
No.
help. It doesn't
It's
help.
tough, like.
Yeah.
But it's not a fluke that they're successful either, right?
Oh no.
You know,
no.
because they have soccer only lads.
Yeah, they get their
You know.
like. I'd struggle to get a team for a friendly during the week because Pal could be one night, Airog
Yeah.
could be another night,
Yeah.
O'Loughlin
Yeah.
could be another night. I
Yeah.
like playing the weekend, can't have a game at the weekend.
Yeah.
Straight
Yeah,
into
and it's the
Sunday
same. I
morning.
know my son was saying Burn Celtic are playing Bunclody B tomorrow night. He has 11 players because of the GAA.
Go ahead.
Like, so your newly promoted team to the Premier trying to prepare, and they have 11 players for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's very tough. We'll look at the 35 fixtures, Papa.
Yep.
This is the game tonight, right? Mount Celtic Nurney in Division 3. Am I right in saying that?
Correct.
Considering we have the fixture sec, I had to be
Correct.
100% spot on
Correct,
here
yeah,
now.
catch-up game. And there was one last night, a great game last night. Ballymurphy and Highview in a massive local derby
Go
in
ahead.
the Cup, and Ballymurphy bet them 1-0. I believe there's a right crowd at it. They weren't present at our
Over
launch night.
35s?
Yeah, it was the Mullins Cup quarter-final.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Massive crowd at it, apparently.
Brilliant. In Division 1 then, Friday night games, we have Hanover. I feel like I'm under pressure here. I've been assessed considering sitting on beside the fixture secretary.
Yeah, right, Patch.
Because I always get it wrong. Friday 23rd of August in Division 1, Hanover Highview and Carlow Evergreen. How's that shaping up, Pop?
We're 3 points clear. I think level on games with everybody.
You have a game in hand?
Or could be level on points with a game in hand. Maybe, is it?
Yeah.
Gruyere got beat by Evergreen the last time.
Got beaten by twice, but unfortunately Evergreen played an unregistered player the first time.
Is that a 2-game division? 2 games played
Everyone plays
twice?
twice, yeah.
Okay.
5 left. 5 games left, I think, in the league.
No, there's not.
We've only 5, I think. We've played 7. Is it?
Have you only played 7?
You've played 7, yeah.
Right,
Played
okay.
7, so
Yeah,
5
there is,
games.
yeah.
5 games there. Quick maths, well done. And I said Carlow were playing Evergreen in that as well. Division
Everybody's seem to be
2.
getting stronger. I haven't replayed them.
Yes,
Beat them well
do
down
you know
there.
what it is though, Papa? The Kilkenny League ran so late this
Yeah.
year. I think they only played the Mockler final there about a month ago.
They did. They ran right up until the end of June.
Right up to the end of
Yeah.
June it went. Like,
Yeah.
went to, you know, really long. In Division 2 of that Friday, Parkford are going well. Parkford Burn Celtic, there's another derby. Bagnestown versus Slaney. How's that league shaping up, lads?
Bagnestown, and it was between Bagnestown and Collection, but Collection had a bit of a shock defeat to Parkville there before we took our 3-week break.
Oh.
So it's in Bagnestown hands now, but they have to play each other.
Okay.
Collection will need to beat Bagnestown to force
That'll be
playoff.
Bagnestown up again, won't it?
2 years in a row, back-to-back
Yeah,
promotions, yeah.
Phoenix are in the outside competition against Ashburn.
Yeah,
Ashburn
big night for the Carlow League. That's the last 16
That's
of the
Friday, is it?
That's the
So
last
16
16
of that?
It's the last 16
Brilliant.
of the LFA now. Fantastic achievement to get that far.
Craigie and Pats then Saturday evening in Craigie Yard. You're hoping Pats do you a favour there, Pop. In 35s and Division 3, Dolman versus Moon. That Division 3 competitive.
That Division 3 is going to be a tasty finish.
Is
Dolman,
it?
Ballymurphy and St. Joseph's can all win that. And they
Yeah.
all have to play each other in the
Looking at
last
it
game.
here, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it here.
It's turned out to be a pretty remarkable division. And Joseph's looked like they were walking it for a while. And then Ballymurphy and Dolman just went on a mad run. So I have the fixtures pretty much done till the end of the season for all those divisions.
Have we breaking news?
Ballymurphy. Well, Ballymurphy Dolman is a potential league decider in Ballymurphy in 2 weeks' time, I think.
Okay.
Where the trophy could end up being handed out.
Right.
But yeah, it's a very tight division. 3 very good teams.
I've actually reached out. Then we'll look at next week. I've actually reached out to Thomas Doyle from Ballymurphy to get him on because I think he'd be a great guest to get on. He's going to come on as well because I think Ballymurphy are a really special club.
They're expanding like you've never seen that club
Did you tell
expand.
me a few years ago that I remember you asked me the question, who do you think is the biggest juvenile?
It was Ballymurphy.
Yeah, and I said I actually think I said Hanover. He said no, it's Ballymurphy.
They have 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, boys and girls.
Yeah,
Have they?
it's massive.
Phenomenal size club.
Fuck.
And the work that Thomas and John Whelan are doing down there is phenomenal. 2 of the best club men you'll ever see.
Yeah.
The hard work they do. But their club is just, and he rang me today looking to enter the girls under 18s as well. They're just phenomenal. They had 2 ladies teams last year.
Yeah, and beat each other in the final, did they?
Yeah, and they'd want to have 2 ladies teams this year too, if we had 2 divisions. But now the fact we're going 11 aside and we only have 1 division, they're not quite sure what they're going to do.
Hey, what was it last year? 7 or 8?
Yeah, but we're
Was
going
it?
back 11 this year. That's one of the big things you want to do now, talking about the progression earlier, progress the league. But yeah, no, look, it's an exciting time for the over 35s the next few weeks. Look, you're
Yeah,
heavily
yeah.
involved yourself up.
Business end.
It's business end, and then we'll have the divisional cups, and we're down to the last 8 of the Mullins Cup. I know you guys were unfortunately beaten by Fuchs, was it, on penalties?
Yeah, penalties.
So we have a couple of lower teams still in that. But yeah, it's getting to the tricky time of the season then where you've got the over 35s and the junior overlapping, and that's difficult for me from a fixture point of view. I also noticed I'm going to have to go back to 7 o'clock on a Friday night because the clocks aren't our friends.
Yeah,
I noticed the
it's
last
getting
2
dark.
nights.
And you can play, once you're with the club, you're with the club. Is that a rule?
Correct.
Yeah, so you can play.
Oh, 100%.
35s.
Yeah, 100. Now you have to re-register. You have to re-register for the 24-25 season, but this is the issue we run into now. So like we would have had in the past, where the likes of Craigie Yard and Hanover would have over 35s playing Saturday evening at 5 o'clock and then going out to play Premier Sunday morning at 11. You have that overlap maybe only for 2 or 3 weeks. And the fact that the leagues don't start till the 7th of October, again, there was another reason. So I have, like, if you go ahead on your phone, I have the fixtures for the over 35s done for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Oh, you
And
have
I
it
think-
set up on
Do you
the.
think the 3
Yeah.
week break is too much of a break? Or for the players, it's definitely needed for ye.
It could be, but we need a pop.
Yeah, it's needed for ye.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
myself and Mick and Noel and Burner and Keith are going 52 weeks a year. And
No, I
we
know,
just
yeah,
need
yeah.
we need to shut off the phones. We need to shut off the computers. We need to shut down, and we have to. So I have all leagues
Done
over.
right up till 21st September. weren't you
Yeah,
saying that?
so all leagues are over the 21st of September is the plan. If nobody uses their free day, so a couple of clubs have a free day left, or if we don't get any weather postponements, all leagues will be over the 21st of September. Then the 28th of September will be the first round of the Divisional Cup. Then the weekend of the 6th of September. So really you don't really have a major overlap. You might have an overlap with the Shield, but in terms of actual Premier and League matches, there'll only be maybe a week or 2 overlap, and that will be with the Divisional Cup. And
Right.
again, that was something, because we're conscientious of the fact that you will be surprised of the amount of lads who play both over 35 and junior.
Oh, there's a lot.
And are playing 12 months of the year. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
And the new rule then that allowed you to play as long as you're playing with the same club was a massive assistance.
Absolutely.
Was a massive assistance for
you're
people.
with the club, you're not. That's
How long is that in?
Since the FEI Connect came in 2 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So you take it, the Carlow lads can play junior football in Wicklow with Carlow and still play their over 35s with us. Otherwise they were losing players. And it's the same then with Evergreen, and it's the same with Highview. So even though the Kilkenny League is starting back up, the Evergreen lads can still play in Kilkenny as long as they're playing for Evergreen. They can't play for a different club.
Is there a surprise that there's no 35s division in Kilkenny, considering it's such a big deal down there, soccer, like?
Yeah, I suppose it would be. I don't know why it kind of didn't take
It's a
off.
strange one,
And the
isn't
same in
Was
Wexford.
there everyone? Was there ever
No, I
league
don't
down
think so.
there?
I don't think so.
35s?
No.
There's none in Wexford either.
No, there's an unofficial one that was run as a tournament years ago in honour of a late referee.
Okay.
And that kind of goes on every year, but it's not an official league. And there's
It's
no-
unusual when soccer is big in the counties, isn't it?
Yeah.
Soccer's massive in Kilkenny.
Massive in it, yeah.
Do you ever think there's a space for amalgamation league?
No, I think it's too messy.
Logistically,
Logistically, it's too messy. We would have done a couple of those in my years involved with the juveniles.
the
we would have
Southeast tournaments.
We would have done a couple of amalgamations, and it just gets too messy.
Yeah.
So it just gets too messy. I think that's another thing I know we didn't get a chance to talk about tonight. I could give you a whole podcast on my time with the Juvenile League.
Yeah.
There was another thing that I gave up, and I see they're advertising again tonight.
Seen that actually for fixture secretary.
They can't get one.
There's no one to do it.
What happened was the league got too big.
Too quick.
You're punished for your own success. Like it's one of the biggest juvenile leagues in the country now. It just took off since we brought in the underage girls. Like when I first started doing the job, it was 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s, 4 leagues.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was a
Anymore.
it was a doddle. Then it went odds and evens. Then we got 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
Then you got non-competitive, competitive. Then you got girls competitive. Then you got girls non-competitive.
Yeah.
And I started to border on a full-time job, and it
Yeah.
was starting to affect my mental health. And I always said if it got too much, and like 16 years is a long time in any job.
Yeah,
But
for
16 years in a voluntary capacity
You know,
is
5 years doing one in the golf club,
is-
and they can't wait to finish this year.
is a long time.
Oh,
And I didn't.
700 members, Podge, I'm looking after.
Go ahead.
Handicaps, yeah, and you're always it's always my fault.
Yeah.
But it's not my fault. It's not the players,
My
it's not me.
problem was the league got so big, and then the clubs got so demanding.
Yeah.
And like I have a special phone for the league, and I didn't bring it to school. And every day I came home at 4 o'clock. I don't know how many messages. Can my under 12s play at 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock? Can my under 14s play this
Yeah.
time? Can my under 16s play this time? And people didn't understand the logistics. For you to move one game, you had to move 3 games at a venue.
But it's like you said, Brian, it's like 16 years in a job is tough. 16 years of voluntary job is mega tough.
Yeah.
Sure, it's insane. Like,
It's mega tough.
you know, it's insane.
But look, it's great for Carlow that all our leagues are gone so big.
Yeah.
And I think a juvenile league is really important for our league.
Absolutely.
And that progression of the youths.
Yeah.
But the knock-on effect of that is I think now it needs to be split up. I think you need to have a non-competitive fixture secretary, a boys fixture secretary,
Girls
and a
fixture
girls fixture secretary.
Would there be ever space for amalgamation
sense,
on that
wouldn't
side? Junior and juvenile coming together.
I don't know. I think it'd be too big in any committee.
Would it be
wouldn't
massive, yeah.
I think it would.
Yeah.
I think it would. Like I was doing the fixtures for both for about maybe 4 years. It certainly made sense from the youth's point of view that whoever was doing the youth fixtures did the juveniles because you could tie the refs in, you
Yeah,
could tie everything
yeah.
in. But like it was, as I said, it was bordering on a part-time job.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
a lot.
I was quite lucky. I was a school teacher. I had a bit of free time, and we had a half day and a Friday. But like there was weeks where I was spending more time sat at my computer doing fixtures than I was doing my actual job I was paid for.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know now the Juvenile League are looking to give an honorarium. They've increased their membership or something to give an honorarium. But I know nobody applied for the job. But like I wouldn't go back. People have said to me, "Will you go back? Will you go back?"
Just thankless, like.
No. It's not even that it's thankless. It's just
Time consuming.
it is a part-time job. There's no
Yeah.
two ways about it. It's a part-time job.
Yeah.
The league is so
Someone who's
big.
retired has a bit of time in their hands is perfect for that kind of thing if you want to stay active, sort of.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
John Collins is
Yeah.
top class at what he does. He really is. Like a secretary wise, I worked with him for many a year, but I still wouldn't do what he done. And I made a statement weeks ago on one of the episodes. I wouldn't do what you do. Not for
We said about
not for an
refereeing
extra
as well, yeah.
no, not for an extra £2,000 a month would I do it.
Mm.
It's thankless. It's like, as I said, no one knows what you do. They only go off what you release, and what happens is people take things personal.
Yeah.
So if, like, Newark is a good example, they're playing Wednesday. That Brian Riley's not fucking good. He has no. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to
try exactly.
you have to play the games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then things snowball, and it's like. So
Yeah.
that's why what I do. You're just putting yourself in the firing line there. Do you know what I mean?
hard.
It's
hard,
difficult, yeah.
You have to have, like, as I said, you can see my involvement with schools and football and refereeing and coaching and Kennedy Cup and everything. Obviously, I'm soccer mad. I live for soccer. Like, and I think if you didn't have that love for the game, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it.
No, you couldn't.
Because of the fact, as you say, it's a thankless job. But as I said to you, back to what I started all about earlier, just trying to be fair to everybody.
Yeah.
And whilst an individual club might see that as being unfair, if they actually take off their club hat and look at the bigger picture.
Correct.
And go, well, actually, yeah, he's been right here. If I put the shoe on the other foot and said to New Oak, okay, well, create a yarder in all the outside competitions. You're not going to play again for 4 weeks. You wouldn't be happy with it.
No.
So he's trying to find that balance. And, yeah.
I think you have that mindset as well, Brian, that you're never going to make everyone happy.
No.
And in my role, what I do, I'm a people manager. And no matter what I do, it could be a rise for everyone, 3%. Someone's going to come back and say, why didn't I get 5?
Yeah.
So you're never.
And I learned that, the first thing I learned back in 2000 when I became a referee was the very first thing I learned. Once you blow the whistle, didn't matter whether you pointed your arm left or your arm right, you were upsetting 11 lads.
Yeah.
So just point anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm used to upsetting people. I upset people for 20 years.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Good enough. We've gone on a good bit. Thanks so much for coming on.
Very good.
No, thanks for having me, and
Genuinely
it's been nice to clarify a couple of points and whatever, and listen, what you're doing for Carlow Soccer is great. I've really enjoyed the podcast the last 20 odd weeks. The first couple of weeks, I will admit, I didn't, but your guests your guests have been fantastic, in fairness.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think that I ever ref Porrick, and I don't think I did.
Did you?
No, I don't think.
Had Kilkenny, right?
I don't think I did, because I was going to put him in the team if I had. But
Yeah.
it was great to listen to him and his experience, particularly
brilliant.
experience
Very,
in
very
Portugal,
good,
whatever
yeah.
else.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And the same with Peter and Kylie and whatever.
Yeah.
So listen, you're doing great work.
No, it's great.
Keep
very
it up.
much.
Your sponsors are two former students of mine and two
Yeah.
neighbours of mine. Two
Lovely.
lovely,
Two gentlemen.
lads.
Yeah.
Two lovely lads have been into the school. We're hoping to give them some business and whatever. So
Good.
it's great to see them on
Deserved
board
it,
with
great
you.
lads,
As
they're
well.
good
It's
lads.
great to see you on board with them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work,
Yeah.
lads.
We might even look get you on again as the season goes. Maybe during a Christmas break or something. Do a little update or something. We'll see. Anyway, we'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
On the two boys, Carlow Sports have sponsored a giveaway this month, lads. It's for 4 interactive tactics boards and 10 footballs signed by Papa. Just the value is just raw. The closing day for that is the 30th, Friday the 30th. We'll do the draw on the 3rd. So to join it, or to join it, to enter the competition. Thanks, Papa. To enter the competition, go on to Buy Me a Coffee. It's on the socials there. Just buy us a coffee, leave your name, and enter the draw. And the draw for that will be on the 3rd and closing on the 30th. Again, Brian, thanks very much for your time. It's genuinely appreciated. Thanks again to Carlow Sports for sponsoring us. Thanks for all the support, for everyone linking in, the feedback. It's brilliant. We are wide open to feedback. By no means are we professionals at this. So any feedback, be it negative or positive, is taken on board.
Just give us the feedback. That's all we want, yeah.
Yeah, as I always say, it's not my podcast.
It's not mine.
It's your podcast. It's Carlow Soccer's podcast. All the best. Thanks so much.
Thanks, lads.